Okay, so we're gonna go I think it's, so we had a gentleman's agreement when we took the case and all that stuff. So here we are. I want to tell him face to face, if possible, that I'm gonna file a complaint. I feel like it's a fair thing to do. All right, where is this? He's gonna tell me I'm an idiot, but I don't think so. Look at it. Serving with intent. Hello.
Hey, can I help you?
Is Garza here?
Well, this is the Garza Law Firm. Are you looking for?
I wanted to talk to him about a complaint, basically.
Okay. Well, he's not in. I mean, I can get some information from you
Okay.
and see if we can get you a consultation with one of the attorneys.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to give him like a heads up that I plan on filing this complaint. I'm recording, by the way.
May I see that, please?
Yeah, it's the Supreme Court
Okay.
complaint, whatever, ethics. I haven't filled it out yet, but I wanted to give him a heads up because he was representing me,
Okay.
and I just thought it would be,
Okay.
a fair thing. Like I
Sure.
feel like it was. I'm upset at the whole system,
What's your
and
name? So I can get you looked at.
Mike.
Mike.
Yeah.
What's your last name, sir?
Let's see. It's Weber. Sorry.
What? No.
Yeah, I think Morel actually took over for Garza. I spoke with Garza first, and then it was Morel.
Alrighty.
But yeah.
Here you go. Found you.
Hey, how's it going?
You guys taking care of it?
Yeah.
You want us to file a complaint?
I don't know if you remember me.
We found a complaint on it.
So I think that this law firm, Garza Law Firm, was negligent in representing my case. I'm recording, by the way. Do you want me to turn it off?
It's up to you.
Yeah. I just want to give people a heads up.
Sure.
I'm disgruntled.
Grab a patio. Some coffee or water or something?
I'm good.
Mr. Weber, can I get you some coffee or anything?
I'm good, thank you.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Let's do these tissues. Here, we've also got soft drinks. We've got Coke and Sprite, ginger ale, Dr. Pepper, Diet Coke, Diet Dr. Pepper.
I'm good, thank you.
Sure, you
Sorry.
don't want anything?
Yeah, I'm good, thank
Okay,
you.
all right. Well, my name is Lisa. Let me know if I can get you
All right,
anything.
I appreciate it.
You can just turn around and just sort of wave me down and I'll
Okay.
come in here.
Okay. Well, this is weird. You never know. You never realize what's gonna happen. So maybe they're calling the police on me. I don't know. This is weird. This is strange, man. I know this is unusual probably for you, but you know, I'm upset.
Tell me what.
You know, do you mind if I record?
I don't care.
Do I have your permission?
Yeah.
Because I will respect your, you know.
Tennessee's basically a one-party recording state. If somebody's wearing something here, record it, they can record it. I don't care if you record.
Okay. I mean, some of it's for.
I wouldn't say anything to you. I wouldn't be happy to record it anyways.
Some of it's documentation, you know, basically of just my journey. You know, I've been doing that, and let's see. I'm gonna record myself actually while I talk to you.
Sure.
Is that cool?
You need to something to prop it up on.
No. Anyways, I just wanted to reach out to you guys to let you know that I'm gonna file a complaint. I'm not ignorant. Like, I get it that statutes of limitations stuff, and then, you know, technically Garza did his job. You know, he was representing me, or you did your job, you know, because you took over, right? You work under the Garza law firm?
Yeah, we all work as a team. I know I worked on your case pretty extensively face to face though. So.
Yeah, so I was heavily medicated at the time through the VA, and I think there was a lot of evidence to prove that the VA system itself was negligent, and I feel like people failed, right? Now, like I said, I think you did your job. Marcos Garza, you know, the law firm, you're a defense attorney. You're looking out for your client.
Sure.
Which you did. You got me the best legal deal possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, I think it was pushed through and rushed through, and people failed to look at the actual evidence of why it happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why it happened. If you look back at my criminal record, if you actually worked with me at the time, you know, I would have been happy to work with you all and go back and meticulously look at my care with the VA, which I've been in the care of the VA since 2007 or 8, medicated on one form or the other, and all along my path, there were key moments where I, you know, had run-ins with the law, you know, whether it was because the medication or my own doing, you know, on some level, the VA system would always take me back in, adjust dosages, push me back out on the streets, right? So I've had plenty of documentation of interactions with law enforcement and the VA system to prove that maybe there was some kind of negligence, right? And this is the frustrating thing. I get it. It's a complicated system. It's a complicated system, you know? And I'm trying not to channel all my anger on you or Garza, but it's hard because I'm driving around town and all I see is his face on billboards everywhere. And how is that not, you know what I mean? To me, it just reminds me of failures. Failures.
I guess it helped me out, Michael. You had said that, you know, that we did our job, that we did what we were supposed to do.
Yes.
But you're upset. You know, you see Marcos upset. You feel like that not enough was done. I know, you know, whenever you get charged with kind of a felony offense, and I've slept since we did your case. It's been several years ago. I do remember, I think, most of the details. I don't remember what I ate for lunch yesterday, but sometimes I can remember facts of cases 5 years ago. And I know we ended up getting that down to a misdemeanor. And I know that at the time we talked about the risks and the rewards.
Right.
Here's the thing: if you'd want to go to trial, we've been happy to try the case for you. It's like I never convince anybody to take a plea. I'm like, here's my
advice.
The best negotiator I give you. I can give you advice. It's entirely your decision to do it or not to do it. If you don't want to do it, I'll try any case. You know, I usually tell clients, don't ask me for my advice. I'll tell you to try a case. But then again, like if I lose, I don't get penalized for it. You know, I don't play with my own chips. Don't let a gambler make decisions for you. But we'd have been happy I guess if your complaint is right now, like I would have rather tried this case. We'd have been happy to do that at the time if you said that. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. I was heavily medicated at the time. I didn't know it was best for me, which is why I looked for your advice. Sorry, I just got a notification from the VA.
Yeah.
which is why I asked for your advice, right? I don't know what's in my best interest at all times, especially like navigating the legal system.
Yeah.
You know, I was heavily medicated. The whole reason why this fucking thing happened was because of the medication.
Yeah.
You know, negligence. Dr. Simpson was his name. He fucking retired. Sorry.
So it's a technical.
You lose. Words lose their meaning when you repeat them over and over.
Yeah.
Like there's something to be said about a good fuck, or you know what I mean.
Realistically, not to
But when
not to divert here, there are studies that show. I've actually seen the studies. If they take you and put your arm in an ice cold water bath and time how long you keep it in there until it becomes unbearable. If you curse while you're doing it, you can leave it in there longer. So
oh yeah,
profanity has some pain relief.
it does.
Yeah,
It does.
it
But
does.
I don't want it to lose its
Yeah.
its value, or you know, its value if I repeat it over and over. Anyways, Dr. Simpson retired while I was in jail. You know, after the incident, I got out of jail. They sent the VA rep over to basically see what happened, right? They went back, reported to the VA. I reached out, I got a bond off, you know, I got bonded out.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna get another, well, I had another lawyer, and then that dropped because he didn't show up at the meeting. And I don't know if it was you that showed up or someone else, but long story short, when I get out, I have a meeting with you folks, and you know, it's the beginning. But Dr. Simpson retired, you know, so I'm back in the VA system. I'm assigned to a new doctor. He pretty much knew he was fucked because there was enough evidence against him to prove negligence of overprescription of controlled substances and antipsychotics and all of that basically. You know, he retired. He knew he was fucking cooked. And I at the time didn't see that. I didn't know that. I was still scared. I was what's going on? Why would I do this? I was a person that never, you know, like most people, never would hurt someone that I care about like that, right? You know? So I was still blaming primarily myself for being sick and just thinking I need to take the meds, I need to do what the doctors say. And that was...
You trust the people with the ND after their
I
name. That's tough.
do. I do.
Yeah.
I also trust the lawyers.
Yeah.
You know, the you guys get paid the big bucks to represent people. And like I said, you did your job and got me a good deal.
Yeah.
Because if you look at my record throughout all the different states, I have done no prison time. You know what I mean? This one should have been the one that probably sent me to prison for a little while, and it would have been a good stop in the system of the VA. Pushing the stereotype of you need to medicate because you're a veteran with PTSD. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I know the VA and the system as a whole, they don't necessarily do that to everyone, and they are pushing holistic, more non-pharmaceutical trials for people. And it's a catch-22 because if I wasn't medicated, someone would come back if something happened and say, well, why weren't you medicating this person? Why weren't you giving them the care they need? You know what I mean? It's a system that is broken, but it's like any system. It has flaws. And
Is your current treatment working better for you? What are you doing now?
so I ended up, after I got out, I ended up driving to, I like recording myself so I can look back on this later.
Sure.
I'm not necessarily trying to find incriminating evidence against you. The facts are the facts, you know, like, and this, you know, all the details are there that I need to prove that, I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I think I'm just upset, you know, and okay, hold on. I'm losing my train of thought here. Okay, so what was the question?
Well, let me ask you this question. What could we have done better for you?
I think you could have looked at the evidence and worked with me, actually looked at the medications, and I mean, if you really want to know what I think you could have done better for me, No, I don't. This is the moral part of it. It happened, right? And I don't want to detract away from the victim. I don't want to be like, but I think you could have got me, at the very least, you could have helped me go after the VA after the fact for negligence, right?
And you'll have to remind me, Michael, did you reach back out to us by suing the VA?
I don't know. I don't recall, because at the time I was sent back into the VA, and the VA they actually brought me and my wife in, and then they put us in couples therapy, and then they were encouraging more intimate moments with us. You know what I mean? It was like I was trapped in a sick system that kept the abuse going, you know? And I ended up at one point blacking out and driving to the Midwest on one of the detached psychotic episodes on that pharmaceutical trial. Ended up in the Midwest, and then that wasn't the only incident after that, right? It was, and I didn't have my driver's license at the time, I don't think, you know? So like, I'm still out there doing criminal things, and I know that you're a criminal defense lawyer and all this stuff, and your job is to represent your clients. Now the prosecutor, I think, failed the hardest.
It's not a surprising statement.
Yeah.
State of Tennessee.
So don't get me wrong. I see and I appreciate you guys for helping me, and I think it can be a good thing. But the prosecutor really failed. And that's also what I wanted to bring up to you guys, that I don't think you're, you know, as upset as I am, I think you could have helped me more and helped me go after the system to stop that abuse and that violence. I also think you were negligent when he sent a private investigator to talk to her, you know? And I don't know that that's illegal or not, if you have permission to do stuff like that, but...
Actually, I'm ethically required to investigate all the facts and circumstances in my client's case, so
yeah.
Talking to witnesses is one of the things. It would be, it would be you would have a legitimate complaint if you're like, hey, you never went and talked to any of the witnesses.
Sure.
And I was like, yeah, we didn't do our job, but that's part of our job, is to make sure we have all the information.
Yeah,
Now,
but
of course, any witness can choose to talk to us or choose not to talk to us. We go to talk to them, and they say, I don't want to talk to you about the case, and I'll say, well, we'll subpoena you to court, we'll put you on stand, you'll testify. But if they do choose to talk to us, it's absolutely our job to go figure out the facts of the case, or at least figure out what her testimony would be, so we can prepare for it.
Okay, but is the private investigator the way to do it? Because it could seem intimidating, you know. And I'm not here to like debate law with you. You're gonna school me all day. Morally, ethically, is that something, you know? Like, I think that is wrong for victims in a way to be harassed shortly after that by the defense attorney, right? It seems like an intimidation factor.
Well, it's
you know?
not, and the reason why the investigators do it, and I don't generally call, because we get a statement for evidence reasons. If we get a statement from a witness, I always want to make sure that I've got another human being I can call to the stand as
Sure.
impeachment, in case that, you know, if I go talk to somebody and they say something to me, I can't call myself as a witness.
Right.
But I can call my investigators. My investigators always have a very soft touch. And
Okay.
they're kind. I would never think that we're going out there trying to intimidate people. It's not what we're doing. We're very friendly, you know. It's like, I think at the time it was probably Bill Mulfield. He'd be like, hey, I'm investigator Bill with Garza Law Firm. I'm just, I represent Michael. If you want to talk to me, you know, would you mind? And if they say yes, then we just ask them questions. But we're not out there to intimidate with us. We're there to gather information, and that's just part of our job.
I understand that, but how do we protect victims from that, you know, not feeling intimidated? Because regardless of whether it's your job to find evidence, there's a right way and a wrong way, and in most cases, it seems like you should file motions or permission through the courts to do those things, right, before you actually send a private investigator out. You know, like, it feels like that was one big, you know, a step that was taken that you went...
Did she have a bad experience with Bill? Did Bill do anything that would upset her?
How am I supposed to know that, you know?
Oh, okay, you were saying like that you might have had information that she was upset about it. I just didn't know.
it just seems, you know, it seems like you went around the courts to gather evidence. You know, if you were doing
the case law is pretty clear on that. It literally says nobody owns a witness. You know?
Sure, but are you
There's
supposed to
not state
file a
license rules.
discovery and subpoena people, you know, through the legal system instead of going through a back channel to talk to a witness, right? That's intimidation. If you don't file the, you know what I mean?
There's not anything to file. I mean, if it was a civil case and we wanted something on the record, we'd do a deposition. You know, subpoena somebody with deposition, sit them down because you want to record it. Everybody's at the table when they do that. If you want somebody to testify at a hearing under oath, you issue them a subpoena, come into court and testify.
Right.
But what we have to do is investigate. So we talk to people. You know, I
Yes.
interview every witness in all my cases. You know, we reach out, we try to gather all the information we can.
It just seems like there seems like something's not right there. Like it just seems like there's a. I think that the law should be changed in that case to protect to protect victims of domestic violence. You know, I don't know, like morally, ethically, I feel like that is.
That's why we ask the question. Okay, you know, here's who I am. Here's who I represent. You want to talk to us? They say no. We say thank you. Have a nice day. And walk away. That's it. That's just over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but what is protecting these victims? You know, legally. You know, do they have rights as victims to
Yeah, they could absolutely say I don't want to talk to you.
you know, because if I have a do not contact order,
Yeah.
then why is it okay for my attorney to go around the court system to talk to a victim?
Well, because the court puts a no contact order on you to have no direct or indirect communication with her. So even if I was to go talk to a complaining witness or a victim in the case, I can't pass along. Even I wouldn't be allowed to pass along messages from you. I can't do third-party communication from you, but I can ask them what happened in the case. I'm not. There's no order from the court saying I can't talk to that witness. There's just no order from the court saying I can't pass along information from you. That'd be third-party contact. That would be disallowed. So yeah, I can. It's actually my job to go talk to witnesses. That's part of what we have to do.
Understood, but I guess my question to you is, do you have to file paperwork through the court to do that, or are you just legally allowed to do that?
Just legally allowed to do it.
Even if your client has a no contact order and you're representing your client, that's allowed?
As long as I'm not imparting information from you to her in any way, you know, I can't go up to her and say, hey, you know, Michael said he loves you, or Michael said he wants to get back with you, or Michael said he never wants to see you again. I can't say any things like that, of course, you know.
You know, and
that would be communication.
I'm curious. I remember having this conversation vaguely, you know, because Garza asked me himself. He asked me if it was okay to go talk to her. And I said, of course, you know, but I don't know any better. And that's when he did it. He went and talked to her, or he sent his private investigator. And you said it was Bill?
Bill back then, yeah.
Bill, and he still works for you?
Bill retired about 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah, he races cars online now. He's got a nice little setup.
Oh, really?
He's having a nice little retirement.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, man. To me, that just seems wrong. But I don't know the law like you know the law. You know what I mean? All I can do is document it and share information, raise awareness. And, you know, at one point I wanted to use this for good and try and help prevent these things from happening. But I know if you fix the system in one area, there's going to be problems that open up in another area, right? So
we have had some improvements in the court system since your case came around. Even in the last couple of years, we've instituted a new mental health court over in Knox County. Marcos and I and this firm got really behind it as far as getting the right people in the room and the right money to fund something like this. We've actually got a mental health court. We've got a dedicated mental health prosecutor over there now. And we're starting to, you know, change the system in I think a more productive way to handle cases that have that aspect to them. So I mean, I think we're getting better at it. We're nowhere near where we need to be.
Okay.
I mean, we've got one judge on that court and one DA and about 3 staff, and it really needs to be a whole department, to tell you the truth. We're now starting to send out mental health professionals on some of these calls instead of just having officers arrive who don't have that kind of training and don't know how to recognize certain symptoms and signs, and think maybe this isn't the case we arrest, maybe the case we try to see if we can get somebody into the appropriate care. That hasn't been fully implemented yet, but it's at least like we are making progress toward being better at this as a system, you know. So
That's hopeful to hear you say that, right? You know, what are your thoughts on billboards and how is that? Could that be perceived as an intimidation factor for victims of domestic violence to see defense attorneys billboards all over town for victims to have to drive to court or to work and see the person representing an abuser plastered all over town? Do you think that is unethical or potentially a future lawsuit waiting to happen as far as victims go?
I don't think so. Of course, the First Amendment, of course, allows you to do that, and it's a regular advertising. If the advertising was such a way that it was seen as intimidating or threatening, if there was a picture of somebody set up there, said if if we represent a client, you're on the other side, we're coming after you. Yeah, of course, that'd be highly unethical. Nobody would allow you to put that up there. But otherwise, it's just advertising. It's not designed to intimidate. It's not meant to intimidate. I don't think it's reasonable to think most even complaining witnesses or victims would feel it that way. You know, I think if they would feel anything, they would feel like they understand that everybody's got a right, a constitutional right to a defense. They've got a right to have an attorney represent them, no matter what happens. And there's a lot of people who get charged with things they absolutely didn't do.
Right.
And there's some witnesses that lie about these situations. There's a lot of people who get charged with these offenses that literally did nothing.
Sure, I know.
Because the person's on the other side. So how do you balance all those interests? But as far as advertising is advertising. It's not designed to be. If there was any advertising that was threatening, or I thought we had any, I wouldn't allow us to have any advertising that was seemed to be that way. And the Board of Professional Responsibility probably take all our bar cards if we try to do something like that. That'd be insane. Of course, we wouldn't do that. Because the thing is, man, we care about our clients. We care about everybody in the case. Like, I don't know if I told you this back then, but I told to my clients all the time. I never want anybody to ever have to use my services again. It's the only job it's the only business I know where I don't want repeat business. If I can help somebody fix their situation or help somebody get back to right, or if there's even a victim on the other side that I can, through my representation of my client, make their life somewhat better or fix some situation that exists, I'll do whatever I can.
Okay.
Because these are people. It's not just a system. It's not just a business. It's people that, and a lot of times people come in our office. It's the worst day of their damn life.
Oh yeah.
It's the worst thing that's ever happened to them.
Yeah.
And I'll have 10 or 12 of those people that their worst day
They're
stacked up on top of each other. That's my whole day. It's everybody else's worst day. And I care about their problems, and I care about what happens to them. And I want things to be better. And that's why it always concerns me when he came in here. He's like, "Are you upset with us?" I'm like, "What the hell did we do wrong? I want to fix it. If I can."
Hey, I appreciate. This is a big thing right now that you're talking to me. I appreciate that. And I'm trying not to lose it. I'm out there driving around, and I make videos. I'm trying to work through this trauma and this process. And I've made some videos that were critical of the Garza Law Firm, and I thought it was fair for me to come out and express my intent.
Sure.
To you guys face to face, and I was hoping to talk to him, but I understand he's a busy man, so
I just got back from court. I have no idea where he is right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Now you said you want to help families and you don't want repeat clients, right? And you did that. You helped me, and then you want to help the other side, and I think that's where you all failed. You sent me back to the VA when I had all the evidence with me to prove negligence, and they just medicated me again, and then they helped guide me and my wife through therapy and coached us into more intimate, inappropriate relationships, or whatever you want to call it, for years.
If you would have come to me and said, "I've got this issue with the VA," The first thing I have to tell you is we don't do medical malpractice. It sounds like this probably sounds more like a civil medical malpractice kind of claim. We've got a civil division. They do mostly personal and, like car wrecks. For the most part, it's about 90% of it. A few other civil cases. You don't have anybody, we've never had anybody that just primarily does medical malpractice. But I could at least refer you to somebody. I was like, hey, there are firms around here that do medical malpractice. I know it's not something we do, but if you want to pursue a claim against the VA, I can, these guys do this all the time, and these guys do this all the time. But I mean, I would have definitely done what I could to help you pursue that claim if you wanted to. I don't practice that kind of law, so I can't say whether or not you got a claim. I don't play in that ball field, so I can't.
But I feel like if you're going off of your statement of wanting to help families, help your clients, and help the other side, it failed. You sent me back into the evidence was there to prove that the system, the VA system, was being negligent, and you sent me back into the community. You helped send me back. The prosecutors failed too, man. I don't want to channel this all on your law firm. Prosecutors failed pretty big too. I think they were the biggest failure. They represent the state of Tennessee and the victim themselves. So I guess moving forward, I think that's what this is about. This is about me processing the trauma, and I also accept the responsibility myself, and I've said that. I've been critical of myself, but I've also blamed myself for a long time, and that's how I got stuck in the system. I need to listen to the doctor. I'm sick, this is gonna be better. And then I was reporting these side effects all along the way. Well, let's add this. It was stacking meds to compensate for side effects of other meds. And it boiled over, and it kept boiling over. And they still prescribe me Adderall to this day. They took it away, and they're still prescribing me Adderall. I don't take it.
Who are you seeing now?
I see the doctors at Mountain Home and Knoxville. So when I got out of jail, Dr. Simpson retired. I was assigned to Dr. Green, who has since retired, but she said, no Adderall. We're just gonna keep you on venlafaxine, antipsychotics, and resume treatment. So the Adderall was gone. Things got a little better, but it was up and down still. Venlafaxine, I think, was the key. That was the one I was on for a long time. They were all fucked up in some way, but they were all, anyways. Before the incident, I had been missing pill counts, and I had been running out of pills, and Dr. Simpson wrote me one final script, and that was the night that happened. That whole week I was detached, lost. It's a blur. I remember bits and pieces of it. I expressed my suicidal thoughts. I reached out to my daughter's mother, who was in another state. She was not really aware of the entire situation. My wife at the time she knew something was wrong. I expressed my thoughts to her, but she was on a girls' weekend, and then it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. The point is, I've been trying to work through this and accept responsibility. I don't want, to detract from her experience. So I think that, it happened. I deserve a record for that. I don't want to be found innocent, but I do think the system was negligent with the VA and the legal system, You guys did your job, though. You got me a good deal, technically.
The legal system do.
Well, the prosecutor should have fucking looked at my record. If you look at my record and there was a number of incidences where the same excuse is being used. It's the medications and PTSD. I had a battery charge on a police officer in Illinois. I had DUIs. I've had a battery charge on a police officer, right? Come on now. And then, reckless driving, DUIs. I was presenting as a danger to the community on some level, over and over and over again. Repeat what do you call that, habitual, you know? So in my opinion, the prosecutor should have looked at it and said, okay, you need to be in jail. You know, you're a danger to this community. You keep offending. And
But the thing is,
that might have broke the cycle though and got me off those meds.
Here's the thing: you're not a bad person. You're not a dangerous person. You're a person that struggled with mental health issues over your life. That's absolutely true. I mean, that's just that's clear. But the thing is that's just a disease like anything else. Some of the things like your criminal justice involvement are really just symptoms of that underlying disease. Like the appropriate track, and I think what should always be done is if you get your treatment right, you get the right diagnosis, the right form of therapy. Sometimes it's medication, sometimes it's talking to people. That sounds weird. I know you've done this over the years. You've done talk therapy, but I could give you thousands of peer-reviewed studies that show that that's medicine for some mental health disorders.
Well,
if we treat all those things and the symptoms go away, it's not that you're a bad person. It's that you're somebody struggling with some issues. And if you get the right therapy, perhaps the right medications, or just whatever is appropriate for your particular case, and you see what happens when they don't get it right, when they've got. And really, we don't have a great understanding about how a lot of mental health medications work.
Yeah.
I always tell people it's more like cooking than science, because it's if it's a little bit salty, we add this, and it's not an exact science, and it takes a long time to get the right diagnosis. It takes a long time to find the right medications, and the right mix of medications that work, what dosage, and how long they build up in your system to see if they're effective or not. And there are a lot of things that can go wrong during that process. You can have too much of this or too little of that. It can cause all kinds of crazy side effects, behavioral as well. But I think that the appropriate thing is not to just throw you in jail, because jail's not going to fix that problem. I mean, that temporary delays it. It's there for a while, you're in jail, but as soon as you come out, you bring all your problems with you. And if you haven't addressed those problems, they're going to exist the second you walk out of jail too. So addressing those problems is much more important than just saying I need to be taken out of society. I just don't feel that to be true.
I mean, it is, and I mean, you're not wrong, but I feel like it's one of those things you never know. You never know. You look back, hindsight's 20/20. Now, I think there's misdiagnoses and all that stuff, like over the course of the years. You see that there's people that know how to use and manipulate systems, and they get paid to do that. Well, lawyers, for example, they practice law, they know the law, and they know what to do, how to best represent their clients, right? And that's what I'm saying. It's one of those things where I'm upset because I still feel like more could have been done to help me keep me safer and my family safer by not going with the stereotype of the sick veteran or the he needs treatment, right? Because that sent me back into the abusive system. It wasn't until I went to North Chicago VA, after a psychotic episode, that some competent fucking doctor, sorry for the F word, but they're like, we need to start getting you off these meds, right? And it's not just one VA, but I feel like there was a bigger team over the course of, the last few years that have, I think enough people's attention has been acquired from 2019 going forward. I think that was a big point where people were like, someone's fucking up big time, or someone's using this system to prove points, right? And I feel like Garza Law Firm is one of those things. It's a turning point for avoiding something bigger. I feel like someone wanted to use me to prove a point against the system at some point, right? That it can be manipulated and skirted, and at the end of the day, if I were pushed into that, this is a turning point. Like I said, I'm realizing this. Like, how many times can you get away with something? And is someone setting you guys up to catch the brunt of that as a negligent kind of, cash cow? They got him out of jail, and he fucking flipped out, had a psychotic episode, and killed somebody, right? That would be. But like, again, I don't know the laws. I'm sure you guys could probably defend yourself pretty well, but that's what it felt like at times, that someone was using me to prove points about a system that can be fixed, or at the very least, better understanding how people are using the system to do things, or potentially how someone could use the system to do some really fucked up things and keep getting away with it. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. When I have to trust the doctors. When I've got somebody that's got issues like yours, I have to say, go talk to the doctors, because I don't have the right letters after my name to diagnose these things. I can't treat them. I can't, I haven't studied, and don't have the years and decades of experience. We have to be able to say this is a treatable problem you have, and you need to go get treatment. And if that treatment fails you, that's the frustrating part. You're saying,
Right.
like, you didn't get the right diagnosis, and you were on meds that were inappropriate for you, and it wasn't helpful for you. But it's still the right advice.
Right.
It's just, it sucks you ended up with either a bad doctor or a bad series of doctors. It sounds like you've gotten some of that taken care of, so it's still, the advice is still good. I would still tell you to do the same thing. But, if I went back in time and I was giving you this advice, knowing I've had this conversation with you, I would still be saying you need to go get treatment, and you need to find out, you need to get a good diagnosis, you need to talk to a doctor, they can figure out what's going on with you, so that you can treat it appropriately and overcome it, and then be able to kind of live your life free of this in some extent. I know that, like any other, even physical ailment, some people have a limp, and that's just fine. That's just how the world works.
I do, I believe that I am a part of, the VA system, and on some level they're trying to understand mental health, and pushing people to their limits, so to speak, or how to bring people back from that, and pushing the boundaries of that. And there's some leeway, there's some forgiveness, I get that. And it's about helping veterans and families at the end of the day, and civilians, keeping them safe as we can, as possible, right? So it's mainly it, man. I don't know that that's going to go anywhere if I file that complaint, but I wanted to tell you guys that that was my intention, that I was disgruntled, and you clearly trust me to be out there on the streets, in a safe manner.
If you feel that you're a danger to yourself or others, you need to go to East Tennessee Behavioral Health right now and check yourself in and say, I am a danger to myself or others.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel you're a danger to yourself or others?
Me?
Yes.
Not particularly right now. No.
I don't get the feeling you're a danger to yourself or others. You seem like a fairly calm and rational guy. You're being under the care of doctors. You're taking appropriate care of whatever issues that you've had to deal with in the past. I guess the question is you're spending a lot of time backwards looking right now.
Yeah. Well, my life has kind of been flipped upside down. I got a divorce. You guys helped me with the divorce, actually. That was another.
But the big question is, what are you doing? What are you doing from here forward?
Here forward, I'm looking to get some of my rights back. I don't take. I'm detoxing off the meds, right? And I'm doing this with the help of doctors and therapists. That's the point. The turning point was North Chicago VA helped me start the process, and then it's been a slow taper to this point here, where I'm 1 year completely sober. I don't drink alcohol.
Congratulations.
I don't take any psychiatric meds. I'm prescribed Adderall, and I was taking it a year ago, and then I finally decided to take the final step. All or nothing, all in. It's and things have been better, but I'm now clearer, and I'm looking back, and I'm upset. I see all the failures and the points, but I also see the people that have helped me along the way, and you guys are one of those. The law firm here, so I appreciate that. So moving forward, I want to get some of my rights back. Do you trust me to own a gun?
Are you a danger to yourself or others?
I don't think so.
I trust you to own a gun. Now,
I'm
because of
a-
your conviction,
I'm gonna try to apply for that to get some of that rights back. Apparently, you can do some of that.
it may well be decided by the Supreme Court about the next year or so, under their current originalist interpretation of the Constitution and how they've been seeing things. It's very likely they strike down as unconstitutional the ban on misdemeanors, domestic assaults. I don't know what they're going to do with felony convictions. They'll probably split the baby somehow. But my guess is sometime it may be decided by the Supreme Court in about a year or so. I would think so.
It's one of those things where I don't need the law to tell me I can do something necessarily right. At the end of the day, if I need a gun, I'm going to get one. I don't need one. I've lived my life since I...
Currently, you're prohibited from owning or possessing a firearm, so don't go get a gun. That would be a crime.
No, that's true. I appreciate that. But it was kind of one of those gray areas where I was like, I don't know, you know. But the point is, I would like to start earning my rights back to do certain things, you know what I mean? And I feel like if it's possible, it's possible. Otherwise not, you know. But that's what I've been working on, is sorting through this stuff, trying to do things the right way.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you've got, like I said, there's not a damn thing in the world any of us can do. Is what's in the past is in the past. What's written is written. There's nothing we can do about it. The only things we can affect are what we do today and what we can change in the future. You've got this kind of experience behind you. You've been through the system. You've been hurt by the system. But it's giving you a certain amount of knowledge. I mean, are there ways to advocate for are there ways for you to get involved with making, say, even the VA system better, or the mental health treatment system better, or ways to use this, those negative things that have happened in your past in a positive way to help other people that may be struggling the same way that you have in the past? I mean, that's, if you direct your energies forward and outward instead of backwards and inward, you'll find you'll be a whole lot happier, first of all, and second of all, it's a whole lot more rewarding to live that way.
Oh yeah. That's kind of the point of this whole last couple of years, I think. I've been trying to help raise awareness about systemic negligence in the VA.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because at the end of the day, it's like, it's modern day society. Clickbait. People just they read a story, oh, that's kind of interesting, that's not interesting. Sometimes people want blood, it's like, if it doesn't catch your attention, they're just going to swipe and keep going. But that's what I've been trying to do is raise awareness, because there's people out there that care, and I think it could help others going through this situation. So that's kind of why I'm documenting this journey.
Yeah.
And that's, like you said, so I'm back in the VA, trying to do things a little differently, and like you said, try to help the system.
Yeah.
I'm going to still try and look at filing a complaint against the state, because I think they failed. And I know you're going to say they didn't fail because you're representing me, but
I don't think jail was a solution for you. I think if you had been imprisoned, on a felony offense for 3 to 6 years, which is the exposure range you had on that particular offense, I don't think you would have come out a better person. I don't think I'd be having the same kind of conversation with the Michael that exists that went into the system like that, left his own vices. I think the system worked as well as it could.
Mm-hmm.
Did we do everything perfectly? No, absolutely not. We're human beings. Nobody does everything perfectly. But I think the system worked in your particular case. I just flatly disagree with you. I don't think jail would have helped you. I think it would have made you worse.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, man. I mean, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I really do appreciate you talking to me. But I'm going to keep documenting this and trying to do the right things. And I just wanted you guys to know, though, that I do not entirely, I think you guys did your job. I've said it before. I'm like, I don't think you did his fucking job, but I think that you did your job technically. Could have been better. I do think there are some loopholes that need to be addressed, if not on your side, the state side, with witnesses and victims of domestic violence, or victims in general. I think there should be more paper trail going through the court system in regards to talking to victims. You know, I don't, that's just my personal opinion. I think there is an intimidation factor when an attorney representing an abuser reaches out to the victim. You know, she had just been brutalized, so to speak.
Well, I mean, that could be legislated if you feel strongly about that. That's something you can reach out to local legislators and pass a law. They pass a law saying me not to do it. I'm absolutely not going to do it.
Sure. No.
I'm a stickler for following the law.
Okay. So there is no current law that says you are not allowed to reach out to a violent or a victim of a domestic violence or any violent crime like that.
No.
You know, any kind of nothing. Even if there's a child involved.
I'm actually, I can't talk to minors without the explicit permission of their parents or guardians. So I can never reach out to a minor unless their parents. I can talk to their parents, say, hey, would you mind if I talk to your kid? And if they say yes, I can. But other than that, there's no law. And in fact, like I said, the Board of Professional Responsibility puts me on the duty to investigate diligently and represent zealously my clients. So I always say it's my ethical duty to investigate and talk to witnesses.
Okay. Paperwork. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm here. I might as well. My name is filed as wrong. It's wrongly filed in the court system. How is that not like a negligent thing?
Every time they mess that, there's all kinds of mistakes, names and otherwise. You should see the cluster that exists in some of these counties, especially with Hispanic names, like surnames, family names. They'll be. I've seen people in there under like 6 different versions of their same name just because they keep mixing things up.
Right.
They always file any kind of charges, warrants or otherwise. They'll have your name and they'll put alias inside of it because they just want to make sure, like, if it's a clerical error.
Okay, so that's the catch right there. Yeah, alias.
If it's a clerical error, then it's just, it's an alias. And it's
Okay.
Really just a misspelling, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay, but sometimes it's so frustrating, you know.
Yeah.
You know. I get it, and when it's working for someone, it's not a problem. You know.
Yeah.
It is what it is, though. Anyways, I feel like that was a big issue too. Was they should have corrected that, but it is what it is. I don't know, man.
If there's anything I can ever do to help you, man,
So would you represent me again if I left today, flipped the fuck out and killed somebody? Would you represent me?
Absolutely.
You would? I got that on camera.
I
I know you could decline.
Here's the thing, man. I represent all kinds of innocent people. I represent some people that did things that they didn't get charged with, and I represent people charged with things I absolutely know they got charged with. But the thing is, I've never met, and I firmly believe this, I've never met any person who I don't believe their life bends toward being better. Like, I think the arc of everybody's life bends toward improvement.
Okay.
Like, no matter what bad things people have done in the past, they can fix that. I don't think anybody's irredeemably broken. I don't think anybody's beyond saving, beyond fixing. So if somebody does something bad, they come into my office, the first thing I do is try to figure out why it happened, how it happened, make sure it never happens again, and put them in the best situations so they can live the rest of their life and somehow put that behind them or get past it. That's how I practice law. That's how I believe in other people. Of course, don't go out and do things like that.
Of course
That's
not.
a
Of
whole
course
lot easier.
not. I mean,
But I mean, it's everybody can improve. Everybody. There's nobody that's lost. You know.
and I truly do want to try to help fix the system,
Yeah.
with the expectation that the system will always be flawed. Any system will be flawed, you know. And I appreciate you guys. I really do for helping me. Ultimately, hopefully, I don't know, man. I'm gonna try and live my life and do things the right way.
Yeah.
But this is
Be
part of the
positive going forward.
process.
I mean, you're a shining example of that. You
Okay.
talked about your sobriety, that you've got your treatment set up. You're starting to. I mean, you're at the point right now, I think, where you can. I think you have been kind of past focused, but I think if you pivot right now, go forward focused, I mean, the rest of your life could be fantastic. You know, it can be. You can make differences in other people's lives. You can make change in this world. I mean, maybe, I come back here one of these days and there's some bill named after you, and I'm like, I told him to call the list. You know, like all those things are within the realm of possibility. You just have to start looking forward. You know.
Hopefully a bill. I mean, I would name it after someone else, but all right, man. I won't keep you any. I do appreciate this. This went a whole lot different than I was expecting. I was expecting to be like a U-turn, like don't come back here. See this guy out. Now, are you gonna serve me with any cease and desist against my protest on the signs? No?
You've got an absolute right to say whatever you want to.
Okay.
You know?
I'll try and keep it respectful, I'll be honest with you. And I'm not ignorant. Like I said, I think the prosecutors failed too. The VA system in general is fucked and they failed. But I'm raising awareness about it. So I appreciate your time.
Good luck, man. Good luck.
Yeah.
And seriously, man, if you need anything, if something comes up or something, give me a call. You know, I am always here, literally.
All right, I appreciate
I
it.
live here, okay?
Do I owe you anything for this?
Absolutely not.
All right.
You drink for brother?
I'm good. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Have a nice day.
Thanks, you too. That went a lot differently than I expected. Oh, shit. I hope you enjoy the video.